one, go. So here we are. It's the website one planning meeting. We had made a plan last week that was discussed in the AV community talk and in the meetings last week about basically we were trying to find a new time for the AV community meeting. And the discussion in AV community talk Slack channel, Praveen was asking for it to be, could it be earlier? And Joao was saying he can only make a later time. So ultimately, last week we went ahead with having it. We'd moved the AV community meeting from Monday to Friday, and it went ahead at the same time it usually runs on Monday, but on a Friday. Ironically, Joao wasn't there, but it turns out he was on holiday for this week and next week, or last week and this week. And Praveen, although that was a bit late for him, he came anyway. So we had the AV community meeting, and we ratified the code of conduct and got that merged in. There we go. But what we had discussed after that was what we would do is that we would maybe change, alternate on weeks between having the, website one meeting first and the AV community meeting first. And I thought that had been expressed in all the channels and discussed, and we were kind of like, that's what we're going to do. However, today, so Federico was in the earlier meeting, and he was saying, he thought we were just going to alternate from week to week about having, 1 week we'd have an AV community meeting, next week we'd have website one meeting, and in the earlier slot or something. So
wait, so what you're saying is, this week, the community meeting will occur before website one.
That was the plan. That's what
next week the website one will occur before the community meeting.
Yeah, that was the idea, and basically an idea that supposedly allows the people who can only make the different times a chance to attend both kinds of meeting.
So why don't you just do our events support every 2 weeks? They don't, right?
They do not, no.
So if you had that, then you could do it.
Yeah, that's a feature that I've wanted on various occasions. I think it was explicitly left out. I guess I'm not seeing a feature on it now. Somebody talked about it enough. If I find bi-weekly is not mentioned. I'm not finding anything. Well, I'm going to add an issue there. Support nightly.
Well, bi-weekly can mean twice a week too.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense in the
once every 2 weeks.
Because you can choose the days of the week.
Yeah. So yeah. There's absolutely an issue with our site not necessarily supporting reality very well. I have on the website one side, I've been working all week on this feature to support multiple repositories for projects, because our projects only have a single repository, and the reality is projects use multiple repositories. So yeah, this could be one fix would be to do that. I think even if we had the bi-weekly thing, maybe my scheme was too complex, because even though I'd been discussing it with Federico and other people, and basically it was confusing. It's not the end of the world. It allowed us to have an AV community meeting which had myself and Federico and Sigu, and we had a nice chat, and that was good. So that was all good there. The people who were expressing the strongest preferences about the timings are actually, either on holiday or not around or what have you. I think having a complicated pattern, maybe just, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we've got the feature in there. So I think today, in retrospect, what I should have done was what I've done now, which is update the times of the meetings, so that the website was saying, was counting down to both AV community meeting and website one meeting in the right way, and that would have been less confusing for you when you first came to the site. Although, not ideal. But there you go. We make. What I think it highlights to me though is the thing that I just had to do there, in order to get the AV community meeting into the site here, is I had to kind of restart the event, as it were. I think while it's frustrating that we've lost the Google API functionality that automate certain sorts of things. I think it's a big step forward that we do have this ability now to, the manual thing works because it wasn't before, and that we have the ability to set the YouTube link. And I think going forward, although I'd love to get integration with Jitsi and all that good stuff, it comes back to me is that I think there needs to be manual overrides for everything, right? I need to be able to come in and say, look, the AV community event took place at this time with this video, without having to explicitly start the event. Do you know what I mean? Like if for whatever reason something else failed, or we did it at a different time, the system needs to adapt to the reality, not the other way around, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, there we go. Corey had started working on some elements of a feature like that. I mean, I just want to create like allow events to be added. In retrospect, if an event took place, we should be able to add it and video, etc. After the fact, rather than at the moment having to restart the event. Oh, did you have any tickets that you wanted to get voted on?
Maybe just the bi-weekly one. I don't know.
Yeah, cool. Just a bit of an update on what I've been doing. So I've, actually my AV ecosystem review, 5 mornings this week, I've done like an hour and a half on this multiple source repository thing, which I think is pretty much, I mean, I've kind of done it in my exceedingly simple way that I like to do things. But I think I can get something out. Oh, hey, Lokesh, great to see you. Welcome. What was I just going to say? Oh, in the process.
Hi,
hey, Lokesh, good to see you. In the process, I've managed to work out how to get remote Capybara JavaScript debugging working, which I was quite excited about. You may remember, Michael, that we spent a lot of time setting up remote JavaScript debugging with the Agile bot like a while ago.
Right.
And I was able to actually solve some serious issues getting it to work in website 1. So I was quite pleased about that. Anyway, but that's what I've been working on all week. It's, so I have to push that out, and then I'm hoping to carry on in this sort of cleanup. I'm pleased that I guess so this is now, there's kind of like, I could add a test of the data migration that I've written, and I might do that on Monday, but it's otherwise it's good to be checked. I've also been through all of the open pull requests and tried to give feedback or work out what's happening with them and so on. So I've and managed to merge in a few and so on. Bing bong, bingly bong. So Michael's got 1 ticket to vote on, which is like this supporting bi-weekly events. Lokesh, did you have any tickets that you'd like to get voted on?
No.
No worries. Okay, so let's find that issue and vote on it. So support fortnightly or bi-weekly events. Copy link address. Yeah. Okay, so now I think Michael and I, because we were just discussing this one, we're quite clear what we mean by it. Does it make sense to you, Lokesh?
No.
So what it means is, at the moment in Agile Ventures,
the event happens every week. So you want to make it like it should happen twice, once in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I think that's at the moment we have the option of it can repeat weekly. Oh, I thought we could repeat it monthly. Right. At the moment, we basically it either repeats, it either never repeats, or it's just weekly. And right, yeah, I thought we had monthly, and maybe we don't. So interesting. But yeah, so repeating fortnightly or bi-weekly or what have you, yeah, that would be the functionality. Should we? Do we need to look at the code to think about how complex or easy this might be, or are we all happy to vote on it?
We should probably look at the code, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, in principle, the simple thing is that we just add. Oh gosh, can I? Is there a quick way to like just close everything? Close all windows. No, I have to do it from here, and then close all in group. Close all in group. Close all in group. Close all in group. Ding dong, ding dong. So this is events. So we've got, this somewhat convoluted setup with the ice cube gem that allows us to repeat weekly. So we can see here a case statement where we either select never or we select weekly. I mean, I guess in principle, it could be as simple as another case comes in here that's added as an option. It I think it's difficult to know without. I guess the interesting question there is: does the ice cube have other rules? Interesting. Have a look at the. I've also noticed that we're definitely getting intermittent. I got like 500 errors on the events show page today, which is kind of probably something that should be addressed, I guess. Wasn't I going to post an ice cube rule there and see if we go and find the rules. So daily, hourly, minutely, weekly, yearly, monthly. So it looks like out of the box, it's not immediately available.
No. Look.
What?
Weekly takes something called an interval, which has a default value of 1.
Okay.
It's probably, if you pass 2, it's probably every 2 weeks.
Oh, that'd be cool. Weekly
What
rule.
else would that interval be?
Yeah. Let's see. Weekly rule. Constructor interval 1. Methods included from weekly interval. Interval tells something about what interval is. Doesn't tell us what it is. I guess I'm like, where is the? I mean, the other thing. Oh, right. So there isn't something on there. If we go GitHub Ice Cube. This one. Okay. Weekly. There you go. Every other week on Monday and Tuesday. So as you say, Michael.
Yep.
Yeah. So it looks like underneath Ice Cube supports it in principle. So yeah, appropriate tests, check that it works. Yeah. Are we ready to vote?
Think so.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard vote.
Yourself, Lokesh, are you all right to vote? Yep, Lokesh's vote. Let's have a look. Yeah, we are in agreement that it's a medium. I think it could, turn out to be a happy, simple, but yeah. Let's pop that in there. Let's pop that onto ready. The prioritization there. I guess I would, if no one else has anything they want to vote on, I guess I would bring up this issue. Well, there's two things. One is that we get 500 errors and Airbrake doesn't catch them. But this is the key one for me, is that what on earth is it called? This is 500 errors on events show page. So I had this today, just trying to go to start the Kenbeck Scrum, refresh the page, it works. Like one slow, 500 error, refresh the page, it works. I pulled, it's awful, can't really see it properly there. I went and looked at the log, Airbrake not triggered. I've got a separate ticket open about why Airbrake doesn't do that. We've got the usual, all these rack timeouts that it's unclear what they're about.
Sam, is this a one-time error?
This is a runtime error in production. What we're seeing there is request waited. Basically, what's always confusing about it, I don't know if this message is just that there was a request and didn't work out, or if this caused the error. Here, we seem to have something suggesting there's exception notification was going on, and then the end of the stat trace that we can see there is that there was some problem with IceCube. So, this is where if Airbrake was working, presumably what it would do is it would show this is the stack trace that, and this is the entire stack trace that refers to the 500 error that just occurred. So, yeah, it may be, one might argue that the thing is to try and get Airbrake to work properly, and then we might be able to fix these errors more easily. Although I'm not sure. Airbrake does seem to, the pattern that I'm seeing is that Airbrake does seem to report, if we have an issue when we're running one of our tasks outside of Rails, that it's just doing, we've got these tasks that talk to GitHub and so on, then we do see we see some issue here that it's often without as much information as we would like. But I think these are ones that are coming from things that are running outside of Rails. But we do also, there we can see there, we do get rack timeouts occasionally. Sometimes inside from Rails. Yeah, I don't know if there's something that we've changed that's now preventing them from coming in. This one 8 days ago. I didn't okay, so here, the Karma calculator. Fair enough. Here, this one. Yeah, where, no information. Some kind of timeout. So anyhow, I guess when I was we have had issues with the events index page before, that where it's been kind of like a performance issue.
So this ticket is about 500 errors not being reported.
Well, no, the ticket specifically is 500 errors on the events show page. I think that there's
not being reported, or just
no. Well, no,
we know that they're occurring.
I've seen them occurring, and even if they're not 500 errors, there's been slowness. My intuition, what I'm experiencing, is I think that the event show pages are taking increasingly long to appear. I mean, probably not the website in particular. It's the Scrum ones, I think. Let's see. Yeah, and I have a feeling that what's happening under the hood is when I'm going to the Modern Fowler Scrum, it's like loading all of the times that the Modern Fowler Scrum has happened in the background, and sometimes that takes a long time, and it triggers the the timeout, like 20-second timeout, where basically Heroku won't serve you anything if it takes longer than 20 seconds to process. So I think I've previously addressed that in the event page by adjusting how to make sure that the event page doesn't query like all of the events that ever existed, kind of thing. And I suspect there may be a need for a similar fix on the show page.
Like inside the show page.
Yeah, like I think when we load the show page, like I've attacked this before, but in some aspect of it, it's kind of loading the event, and it's loading all of the associated event instances.
I think, Sam, there is a code which fetches the latest event instance.
Right.
So there is something like uh, from the last day. So it's querying that.
Yeah. That's something in the way that it's set up. So I mean, I think that the approach, like, I think it's also like going, it's looking for recent Hangouts, and I think if we look
This one.
at the event controller and we look at the show page, yeah, so it's doing like this. It's going like recent Hangouts first, and I think that might be like getting very slow for certain sorts of events.
So what are the next? Okay.
Go on. You said what next? Sorry, Michael. Did you?
Yeah, I was saying that recent Hangouts is also a function.
Resend Hangouts? Well, recent Hangouts. Yeah, sure. Anyway, I mean recent Hangouts.
Yeah, this I think is low.
Yeah, I mean, the query is supposedly only grabbing stuff within the last day and then taking one of them. Anyway, I mean, I think the thing I would run, I'd basically be running the thing on my local system and watching the database queries go by and looking for ways of improving the performance. Anyway, are we all right to vote on this one?
I guess. I mean, are we sure that it's like you've been seeing it a lot on that particular page?
I've been seeing the slowness, particularly on like the scrums that run regularly. Today was the first time that I saw a 500 error on that one of those pages.
Okay.
So I mean, I think that the ticket is, it's 500 errors, on event show page and
so in theory, we could just replace that like query there. If you go to well.
Yeah.
It's doing first. It's like doing recent Hangouts .first.
Yeah. And I mean,
So there's if you go back to the recent Hangouts query.
Mm-hmm.
This should take like linear time, I think.
I mean, in principle, like there should only be like 3 or 4 instances that come out.
What's duration
of this? That's like the length of the event, like 30 minutes or whatever, 15 minutes or what have you.
Oh. So in theory, there should only be like 1, right?
Yeah. possibly two. Ideally, only one event. I was just going to do. Can I do find? Do we have a slug? We do find by. Not so old. If I can just get the slug for like popular event. If I do what is it? We're looking at recent Hangouts. I mean, it's not going to. In this case, yeah, it's going to be. So, I mean, calling first. Yeah, I mean, some of these things I thought I think it's like, you know, here when you like calling last Hangout, that's really slow. Like if we do not really slow on my system. That was fast, wasn't it? Last Hangout. Select event instances from.
Is this like locally for you or on the live system?
It's on the live system that it's been slow.
No, I mean, but this query right here is locally.
It is, and I was just surprised here. Well, I mean, what exactly I've got? I mean, we could do event instances count. There's 459 of them. Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, it may not be this thing. I mean, sensibly, what I'll be doing is I'll be running the whole thing and looking for slowness. I mean, I can, like, if I start the server here and I go to I still get these, like this whole rack timeout stuff. I don't know what that's all about. Like it's a very, very, I thought I fixed this one time. It seems like a very slow start. If I go here, yeah, see that loading of mod and Fowler there?
So what's running in the thing? Can we? Like,
Yeah, well, so this was the loading of there. So we can look at the thing here. Basically, it's not that it, like here, that says it took 5 seconds. It took 5 seconds to process the views.
I think it's, yeah. And the active record took hardly.
Yeah, I mean, the time that it took to get the data from the database was trivial. Somehow the process of like doing all this stuff for the view, some processing of the views is weird. I mean, but I mean, we shouldn't like debug it in its entirety now, but I can like take out different parts of the view and work out which is the bit that, you know, is causing it to be slow, right? Which is being very slow to render. I think there's a lot of partials in here. What are we in here? This is we're in events, Hangouts management repeats weekly. No, the show page, I'm not even using any partials. Oh, there is there's a Hangout button. Anyway, are we ready to vote on this one? The Lockers has voted. Michael?
Yeah.
All right. Just waiting for Michael's vote. Okay. So, oh, interesting. Well, we've got the full gamut of there, with Locker saying this is a hard one, me saying it's a simple one, and Michael saying it's a medium one. So I guess the simplest thing is if we just take the average value. What do you say, guys?
I choose hard because, you know, it's hard to reproduce.
Well, you say it's hard to reproduce. I take your point. I mean, we did just reproduce it here in that loading this page.
But look, we don't have access to the production server.
No, but I've fixed issues like this before. If something that's running slowly on the production server is also running slowly on my machine, on several occasions, by tweaking queries and views and so on, if I can cut the loading time in half on my machine, then in every case I've managed to reduce the loading time on the production server. So I'm not too worried about reproducing it in that sense. I think it could end up being hard in as much as maybe the way that the actual problem is kind of quite obscure, and then fixing it involves some like massive refactoring of the site. Would be why it might be harder. I was certainly being optimistic with my simple thing. Michael, do you want to talk about why you thought medium?
Because of some investigative work, basically.
Yeah, what we just did.
That would have to be continued, and like person would have to profile and everything, and and then the uncertainties of the fix.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy to go with medium. What do you say, Lokesh? Do you think you might be willing to concede medium?
Well, I tried to fix this once, but I failed.
Oh, okay, right. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I thought you said feel. You said you tried to fix it once and you failed. So you tried to fix performance issues before?
Yeah, I was looking why this page is so very slow to load,
Okay.
and I've observed the same thing, that it's because of the view. But in the view, there was just simple things, so I couldn't figure out why is it so slow.
Yes. No, I take your point. I mean, I guess my counter to that would be is that, yeah, it might be very difficult simply by looking at the view, but there's a sort of divide and conquer thing where we can take out chunks of the view. Like I can take out. Why is my thing going very slowly now? Well, we can delete. This is sort of like the process. Like the process of if someone like has a number, they say that I've thought of a number between 1 and 100. What's your first guess? And I'll just tell you higher or lower. You say, well, so Lokesh, what would you say if I said I've guessed the number between 1 and 100? Like,
Yeah.
I thought of a number. If I will tell you higher or lower, what number would you guess first to work out what it was?
I think with this method, it can be solved.
Right. If my Ruby mine doesn't, I think my Ruby mine has just got like that's just bizarre. Like you can see it like glacially selecting that. Good grief. Okay, I think the computer's tired for the end of the week.
So the answer is 50.
Indeed. So shall we agree to a medium there for the time being, Lokesh?
Yeah.
All right, and I'll let you know.
Do you know why it's 50, Sam?
Do I know why it's 50?
Yes.
I asked the question. It's 50 because it's like the information theory thing.
Right. It reduces the entropy.
Indeed.
It's like decision trees, basically.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Have you ever played the game Guess Who?
No.
It's a child's game that involves each party having a set of faces in front of them, and you pick a card which tells you one of the people, and basically you have to try and guess the other person who they've got, and you can kind of say things like, does your person have a hat, or does your person have glasses, or do they have blue eyes or a beard or what have you? And the skill in the game is being able to ask the right questions to be able to effectively divide the set.
So it's like a decision tree, kind of.
It's exactly like a decision tree.
But so like you have a list of like all the characters like in front of you.
Yeah, but both parties have a complete list of all the characters,
right.
And they need to eliminate sets of them by asking yes or no questions.
Right.
And I used this in my interview with Toshiba to explain the process about pattern matching and decision trees and so on.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah. I took the game along to the interview and that's how I
Did they
got
not
mine.
understand that concept themselves, or was it they were?
I'm sure that some of them understood the concept, some of them might not have done. I was going for not you need to understand it. I was going for here's an interesting way to, explain a complex idea using a fun game.
Right.
But there we go. Okay, well that's great. We've got some tickets voted on. My plan is to try and finish up this multiple source repository thing next week. I will try and run the data migration, I guess, or run a test data migration on Monday. And then I guess I may put myself on this event show page ticket. Does anybody else want to grab a ticket at all? All right. No worries. Okay, well, I think that's our meeting then. I guess I maybe won't put my name on it until I've kind of committed. Have I lost the other ones? No, they're still down here. I've got these two on my name, so I want to try and clear out all of these old content ones next week maybe, and then get onto this. Yeah. All right. Lockish.
Oh, wait, actually, the book that we're reading uses that thing too.
Yeah.
Now that
Yeah. Well, so you use it. Yeah, I finished reading chapter 4. That quote about the boosting versus the bagging.
Yeah, but I just looked on Google about guess who and decision trees.
Yeah.
And the fundamentals of machine learning book came up.
Yeah. I mean, well, I was interviewed for my Toshiba thing in 1997.
So
I'm claiming dibs on that concept. And as I say, what they say is emulation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Well, they probably heard it from one of your colleagues at Toshiba, no doubt.
Well, or they may just have come up with the idea themselves, because it's not that difficult an idea to come up with, really, if you ever play the game with your kids. Yeah, there we go. That's our website one meeting. Lokesh, great to see you. I hope everything's going well at school, university, I should say.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, do jump in again and say hi whenever. It's always good to see you.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, have we stopped using Jitsi?
Not completely. We've had some problems with Jitsi recently. I did use it on Thursday for the local support meeting, and it worked fine. The Run Funk people tried to use it this week, and I think it because we're sharing the server, it goes up and down. I have had messages saying, when I've tried to start a YouTube streaming from Jitsi, I've had messages saying that there's no open streaming slot or what have you. I would like to try setting up our own server. You said you tried setting up a Jitsi server. What hosting service did you put it on?
Amazon AWS EC2.
Okay. All right, you put it on EC2. Okay. And was it difficult to set up?
There was one small difficulty. We had to, open the ports.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Otherwise,
sense.
it's easy.
Yeah. Well, I've opened up ports on Azure, so I think.
Well, was it stable when you hosted it, or no? Was the performance good?
Lokesh, Michael is asking you a question about the performance when you did that.
Sorry, what is the question?
Was the performance good when you hosted it on AWS?
I didn't notice any difference from the demo side.
Yeah. And so, I guess in principle, I could basically there's this quick install thing, and I could do a quick install of this on Azure, or somebody could, and we could try it out.
Right.
Is this the one? Is this the instructions that you followed, Lokesh?
Yeah, there was one more thing. You can also do it through Docker image.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could even add that to. Have we got? Let's see what we've got.
So is it because the demo site is slow, we are going for the server?
Yeah, I mean the. All right, so we've got a ticket for it. Should we just vote on this ticket? The demo site is proving unreliable, so people are falling back to Hangouts. Yeah, so I think if we're going to continue using Jitsi in any seriousness, we do need to we need to try our own server and see if we can make it stable. So
Okay.
let's just have a quick. We have got a ticket for it. Shall we? I'm only including in this just installing Jitsi Meet on Azure. Shall we?
All right. Vote it optimistically.
Yeah. Okay.
Sam, I just want to mention one more thing.
Go on.
In order to install the the live sharing option, sorry, the screen sharing option,
Mm-hmm.
you need to follow some steps which is a lengthy process.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so that's a hard part.
And is that documented somewhere? The steps that have to be followed?
Yeah.
Can you paste me a link to where that is documented?
Okay.
Thanks. So Michael and I put simple. Lokesh has said medium. I guess, Michael, since Lokesh has just mentioned about this screen sharing step, which is, of course, critical, shall we concede to the medium?
Yeah.
All right. So let's put that on there and bring it into ready. So Jitsi, can I even find the Jitsi Meet? What was that screen sharing setup? We've certainly got some issues, site deployment, screen sharing, and add-ons. This readme configure screen sharing for Chrome. Okay, is this the one?
I'll paste the link in the Slack.
Yeah, got it. Great. Okay, so this one has a discussion of how to get it sorted out. All right. All right. Okay, good to know. All right. Got that in there. Okay, and let's pop that into the ready thing. Okay. All right, cool. Good stuff. Thanks, Lokesh. That's really, really helpful. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
Michael, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Decision trees and ID3 and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and we should maybe find, like, if we're going to do like a data mining mob, data science mob. I don't know. I'd be kind of interested. We're already reading that textbook, but maybe we can find another textbook that's got more Python in it. That would be attractive.
I was trying to. Last night, I was working with my friend through the murder data.
Oh yeah.
Let me show you, if you have a moment.
Go ahead.
This is called Jupyter Notebook, if you're familiar with it.
I am familiar with it, yes.
It's just like It's a popular thing, and like
I remember using it at one point. I'm not so much, but yes, it rings bells.
like it like puts graphics like inline in the web page and everything.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get this running on C9.
Oh yeah.
And I got up to a certain point, but basically like it wasn't letting, because it has to communicate with the kernel. It's like open a WebSocket or something, and then it's like C9 doesn't like that.
No.
So I don't know, like that would be a bit of a block to doing like a really nice mob on C9.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like if everybody could just open their browsers, you know, to some address,
right,
collaboratively type like this.
Yeah.
That would be a really nice environment.
But so there you've got it right. But so you could host. Could it be hosted on Heroku instead of, or on Azure instead of C9?
I haven't looked. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Michael, could you tell the exact problem, because I have tried it on C9 and it works perfectly.
Jupyter?
Yeah.
So the problem was that it was like not. It was saying that it was trying to connect to the kernel and it wouldn't when I executed the code. Like I could get this to launch, but like if I ran this code like with Control Enter, it would just say connecting, and then it would like.
Yeah, because the C drive is. Because the C drive isn't there in.
No. I know it's not that. This is because this is locally, but like when I was trying to just run like 1+1, it wouldn't do it.
Okay, but it works for me.
Okay, well, I tell you what, guys, I'm going to stop the broadcast there. If you want to carry on chatting or sharing stuff